All right, everybody, so welcome back. Of course, we are continuing our discussion on the Finance Minister's $59.2 billion budget. Our next guest is Mr. Brian Manning. Of course, he's the MP for San Fernando East and a former minister in the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Manning, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure.
Hi, good morning. Wonderful to see you. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Well, Mr. Manning, I think it is safe to say that because of your former position in the Ministry of Finance, you do have an intimate knowledge as to the state of affairs as it relates to the economy in Trinidad and Tobago. So on that foundation, as you look at some of the plans that the government has announced, I know that there has been a great concern as to how the government plans on financing these initiatives, these goodies for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, I think the initial response of your party and more so the opposition leader, she believes that the government has perpetrated fraud and fake against
fake and fraudulent, correct?
Yeah, fake and fraudulent against the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I suspect it is safe to say, and the opposition has given the impression that the math is not mathsing.
That is completely accurate. I wouldn't say that there are a lot of goodies in this budget. What they're trying to do is hold up one or two things to try to distract the population from the rest of the things that are in there. They are giving with one hand and taking a whole lot more with the other. You look at the host of new taxes being implemented here. I mean, just one particular tax, the container processing fee, it has doubled. It's a 100% increase in taxation. We have an annual food import bill in this country of over $1 billion US. It is going to add a cost to almost everything. And that is just one of the taxes that have been implemented. We believe that this budget really serves no other purpose than one, to attempt to keep its incredible promise to the PSA to pay that 10%, but it'll do so at the cost to everyone else, including public servants. And also we believe that this government wants to have a reason to access the HSF fund within the next fiscal year. They are setting the stage for that by setting this improbable energy price. I believe it's in the budget here at $73.25 per barrel and $4.25 per MMBTU. That is absolutely fantastic. There's no possible way that that is going to be achieved in this current global energy environment. Plus our production has also been pretty muted in the past years. So it is improbable that those numbers will be achieved, and that will give this government a reason to severely impact the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, which is the main goal of this budget.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that impact, the 10% pay hike for public servants. Of course, I would have just had a conversation with the Minister of Labor, and I was saying to him, well, the last administration of which you were a part of expressed great concern as to how or why they could not fund such a plan of that 10%. Of course, the Minister of Labor has said, well, that's why the PNM is now in opposition, because this administration does have a plan as to how they are going to fund this 10% for public servants. So as we look at that, I would want you to respond to that and also the overall impact that this could have for Trinidad and Tobago.
Sure.
Mr. Manning, go ahead.
Yes.
We're listening.
Yes, well, I'm sure the Minister of Labor would have said all of these things. They've reopened negotiations for wage discussions. But whatever it is given is being taken with the other hand. Something as simple as what the labor unions simply do not want to seem to discuss is the increase in the retirement age to age 65, and also almost a 45% increase in NIS contributions monthly. They don't seem to want to discuss that. I had consultations with the various trade unions while at the Ministry of Finance, and almost all of them were totally and completely against the increase in retirement age to age 65. In fact, some of them had recommended we lower the retirement age from age 60 to a lower age. So I would love to hear what the Minister of Labor and some of his comrades have to say about the increase in the retirement age to age 65. They don't seem to want to talk about that, or the host of other taxes here that will erode whatever it is that public servants receive from these wage negotiations. It is Whatever it is, it will not be enough to cover the additional cost of living that is going to be inflicted on the people of this country by this budget.
Yeah. As the government, you believe here, have they set precedent with this? Because I suspect when other groups of people see what is transpiring with the public servants, that it may
Absolutely.
cause other people coming to the table for more.
Yes, absolutely. The other unions are going to see this, and they're going to want to start negotiations somewhere around a similar or the same level, and that is going to cost this country billions of dollars in payments, in back pay, and also in future recurrent expenditure. Where is that funding coming from? Of course, no one from the government wants to say. We have very little revenues to expect from the energy sector because of global energy prices, also the lower production that we've endured for the past few years, any energy ambitions that we've had. In fact, we have been so challenged in terms of revenues from the energy sector that this government would renege on its cancellation of the Dragon deal and decide to revisit that project, which they had been battling against for the past decade. As soon as they get into office, they decide, you know what, let's rethink this Dragon deal, because they are that desperate for revenues. So how can the Minister of Finance come to the people of this country and say that he expects $55 billion in revenues from an economy that is as impacted as this one? There are just simply too many questions about this economy and about this budget that has not been answered. And every time you ask them a straight question, all you receive is either silence or insults and personal attacks from this government.
You believe, just jumping off from your point on the Dragon gas deal, yes, you believe that this administration can bring that deal to fruition? And I say that in the context of what has been happening geopolitically, in the context of this government's relationship with Venezuela?
Yeah, we in the People's National Movement believe that the Dragon deal is the way to go for the future energy prospects of this country. It would benefit us, it would benefit Venezuela, it would benefit the world economy, to be honest. Do we believe that this government has the ability to conclude this effort? Absolutely not. Not after some of the callous and thoughtless statements made by several members of this government, including the Prime Minister. Why would Venezuela want to negotiate with such persons in the situation that they are in? We had one minister talking about one of our allies nuking Venezuela. How do you say something like that and then go look a world leader in the eye and attempt to negotiate a reasonable, mutually beneficial deal? It's difficult. I would be extremely surprised if this government can pull it off. I hope they can for the future of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. What about the fundraising initiatives, if I can put it that way, as announced by the finance minister? Because I think for some there may have been an impression or an expectation that more would have been said as to what is going to be done in the manufacturing sector, non-energy sector, what's the status of the oil and gas sector, and what is being done to generate forex and so on. You felt that more should have been said, or just like the rest of the population,
Absolutely.
we wait as to what we are going to see in the budget debate?
Not at all. The budget debate was the time to really present to the people of this country exactly what it is you plan to do, so that persons could begin to decide manufacturers, average persons can decide how to plan their affairs. This budget was so devoid of any details. In many cases, it's devoid of even facts and figures. It is an empty, thin document where the Minister of Finance spent the first hour of his contribution essentially attacking the People's National Movement. That is not what the people of this country elected this government to do. If you were given a job to do, and we expected to see something in this budget, and you look through the document, it is very thin, and there's very little details and very little facts. And when you ask this government for answers to some of these questions, they are simply refusing to answer, inside and outside of Parliament.
Yeah. What do you think about initiatives such as the $1 less per litre of super gasoline, of course, the removal of VAT from basic food items? Of course, on the other side, you have the electricity surcharge for commercial industrial clients, landlord business surcharge. You feel that the population that it is going to feel the benefits of some of these things? I see where the finance minister is saying this morning, and he's advising the population to push back against, I suspect, organizations or businesses which would not want to pass on these benefits to the population.
Yeah, the minister is being a bit disingenuous. Of course, a reduction, a $1 reduction per liter in the cost of regular fuel is welcome. At the same time, the government is giving up a significant amount of revenue in doing so. But as I said, as they give with one hand, they take with the rest. They increased taxes on, the cost of electricity for industrial and commercial use. That is going to increase the cost for every manufacturer in this country. So almost every business person is going to be impacted by that. We have the new landlord tax, which is really the property tax by another name, the same property tax that this government has been fighting against for the past 15 to 20 years. All of a sudden, they reintroduce it by another name. The import duty tax is going to add a cost to everything because almost so much of what we consume in this country is imported. And there's a 100% increase on taxes on that. And there's so many other taxes. All of this budget did was increase taxes across the board on the people of this country. The banking tax on assets. I saw BAT already put out a statement on that, saying that it is going to impact the entire system and it's going to increase banking fees and costs to everyone in this country. So while you may be saving some money on fuel, you are losing money across the board due to the increased cost of living that is going to be caused by this budget and this government.
Yeah.
So it is disingenuous, and that's why we say it's a fake and fraudulent budget.
Yeah. Speak a little bit to the issue of government's position as it relates to CPEP and URP, because I'm sure that some of your constituents would have been affected as to what would have transpired with these programs. Of course, this government is promising a greater training component. And I think it is safe to say that URP and CPEP, if they return, it's not going to be in its current form.
Yeah. And we see that is just absolute nonsense. This is just a spiteful and vindictive move by this government in an attempt to destroy a program that they saw as a PNM program. This CPEP and URP, as we have seen in the past few months, since this government has come into office, almost every local government activity has fallen apart. Across this country, we have flooding where there wasn't flooding before because drains haven't been cleaned. We have grass cutting is non-existent. Garbage collection has also been difficult. And that is because the CPEP programs would assist local government bodies in doing that. I know in San Fernando East, we've been having a very difficult time maintaining the constituency with the closure of these programs. This program, CPEP, gave some of the more vulnerable people of Trinidad and Tobago dignity of an honest day's work, and that they did. The government threw them all by the wayside. Many of them are now reaching out to file for social welfare benefits and unemployment benefits when the government could have left them doing an honest day's work. And all it is a cost-cutting exercise because they don't have the funds to do other things, and they're trying their best to keep their incredible and ridiculous campaign promise to the PSA. And also, it is a vindictive and spiteful move to try to put an end what they deem to be a PNM program. They don't care less as to what benefits the program had been giving to the people. They simply want to destroy it.
Yeah, but of course you know that the argument of this administration has been, well, there was rampant corruption and millions of dollars would have been wasted.
So this is an administration where we have several ministers that are out on bail. I am pretty sure they have no concern about corruption whatsoever.
Yeah. Mr. Manning, I just have about 1 or 2 minutes again. Anything else you'd like to place on the table for us this morning, sir?
Yes, well, we will be in Parliament this week. We are going to interrogate what little numbers and facts we have in this document. We believe that the budget is really designed to fool the people of this country. They are giving with one hand, but they are taking with the other, and they're taking so much. Whatever is agreed to in the wage negotiations going forward will be taken away by the various increases in the cost of living across the board. If you're a renter, you have lost. If you are a business person, you have lost. If you import goods, you have lost. If you have a business revolving around Christmas and Carnival, 100% increase in taxes on alcohol, you have lost. So whatever increase you receive, it'll probably dissipate very quickly. This budget is simply meant for this government to, one, keep its ridiculous campaign promise to the PSA, and two, give them an excuse to access the Heritage and Stabilization Fund in the upcoming fiscal year. That's it.
Yeah. Mr. Manning, thank you very much for the time that you would have spent with us this morning. We do appreciate your perspective. Bye for now, sir.
Thank you for having me. All the best, Trinidad and Tobago. Have a good day.
All right, everybody. We are going to a very short break. We are coming back.
And I was good without you, what you made me a better me. If you give me the melody, then it's just take on the royalties. Cause you have been dancing away. No one dancing.
Style,